Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our weekly Downtown SLO response and recovery call. I hope you all had a nice weekend and enjoyed a little bit of rain. My name is Bettina Swigger, and I'm the CEO of Downtown SLO, which is your business association. And we have been doing these weekly calls since March. And when we started them, we didn't think that they would be still happening at this time, but they are. And it's been a great way for us to stay connected to the incredibly dynamic environment that we're all operating in. So I just wanted to take a minute to say thank you to all of you. You might notice that on my t-shirt, we are all in this together. And I know that that has become a little bit of a cliche over the recent months, but it's still very much true. And I know that I speak for our staff and our board of directors when I say that it really is about being in this together. Our board of directors met last week. Thank you to those of you who are on the call today. We had an interesting meeting. We talked a little bit about finances. Our organization continues to operate in an austerity environment, which means that all of us who are on staff are working at reduced pay and reduced hours. So we're still trying to do everything we can to support your businesses, but our business has also been affected by COVID-19. So we really are in this together. Our board also discussed some of our priorities that we'll be bringing to the City Council in light of the new two-year budget cycle that is starting up in 2021 to 2023. And we had a fun exercise where we brainstormed some creative ideas. We'll be bringing the sort of top results of those brainstorming to you next week, and we'll be asking you for your feedback next week at that time. If you are on this call and you are a business owner in the downtown and you are interested in joining our board of directors, we do have some vacancies coming up. And if you are interested in applying or learning more about what that means, please feel free to reach out to me. My email address is bettina@downtownslo.com. Or you can talk to any of the people pictured on your screen. I'm sure they would be happy to speak to you about this. So I know last week was a challenging week. They continue to be challenging as we went into the first week of the new stay-at-home order. And so I'm going to invite Rachel Maiorino, our COO, to come on and talk a little bit about where we are in our current situation.
Thank you, Bettina. As of Friday, 7,452 cases of COVID-19 have been reported in SLO County, and the city of SLO accounts for 1,655 of those cases. The total number of deaths due to COVID-19 is 46 in the county, and our thoughts are with their loved ones and families during this really tough time. Testing is available, and you can visit readyslo.org to learn more. The Southern California region stay-at-home order is in effect, and on the next slide, we can see the ICU capacity for the Southern California region, which is what we're included in, which is at 4.2%. And to our other side, the San Joaquin Valley, our neighbors are at 1.5% ICU capacity. In short, the hospital systems are being overwhelmed in terms of ICU capacity. So if we can all just continue to do the things that we know to really help stop this surge upon a surge. With that, Bettina, I will turn it back over to you.
Great, thank you, Rachel. And interesting to note as we continue to look at this map that at one point over the weekend, that San Joaquin Valley ICU capacity dropped to 0. So the numbers are fluctuating daily as patients leave the hospital, whether they're being released or whether they are passing away. So this is a real crisis for our healthcare system and what people have been talking about for many months. So please keep that in mind, as well as all of the people who work in our healthcare response system. So there is some good news coming, and that is that the vaccine is now being deployed around the community, around the country rather. I don't know if it's here yet. So that is good news, but this is, there's light at the end of the tunnel, but we're still in the tunnel. So it's going to be a while before we have the access to the normal citizens like you and me to get the vaccine. They're going to be deploying it to first responders first. And then it'll be interesting to see how that carries out. So we all still need to really pay attention to what's happening. And I know you're hearing this from multiple people, from multiple sources, but it really is, now is the time to be vigilant. I wanted to follow up with you about our homeless outreach program, which began 2 weeks ago. And last week on our call, you had the opportunity to learn from Maria, who is one of our outreach workers with CAPSLO, about what outreach is and how we are trying to partner with CAPSLO to help serve the unsheltered community in our downtown. So this is just a little weekly report that was written up by Maria, and Maria is on the left in this picture and Cecil is on the right. So if you see them out and about downtown, please introduce yourself. They'd be happy to speak to you about what resources they have available and connect you with any assistance that might need. So the good news is that they have already done some really great referrals, including getting people who were new to the community, getting them into the 40 Prado system and getting them some care. We also had a really great success story, which is that the one of the people that they contacted during the first week was now sent up to Paso to live in one of the motels that have been allocated through Project Home Key, which is the program that repurposes motels into short-term housing and affordable housing. So this program is already demonstrating its effectiveness, and I encourage you to say hello to Cecil and Maria when you see them out and about. Our first community partner this morning is going to be Courtney from Cal Poly. How are you this morning, Courtney?
I'm good, thank you, and good morning to everybody. I just want to, I feel like that's really significant that one life is already so impacted. So just touched by that. So as far as Cal Poly, for winter quarter, which is set to begin on Monday, January 4th, we are planning very similarly to the fall, which I've mentioned previously. So that's about 11% of classes in person and roughly the same number of students living on campus. A big difference, or at least a difference, is that we are going to be doing more testing. So students coming to campus are going to have to show a negative COVID test before they arrive. They'll have to take another test as soon as they arrive, and then another test 3 days later, and 2 tests the following week, with ongoing testing throughout the quarter. And then for our off-campus students, which we cannot require to do the same level of testing, we are doing a lot of messaging to strongly encourage them to do the same. As I mentioned, the first day of classes is the 4th, but we are going to allow students to start moving in on the 3rd. And then we have a percentage of students who live on campus but do not have in-person classes. And for those students, we are encouraging them to move in as late as they can, so up through that first week, with the goal there being staggered move-ins. We are going to do saliva testing. That's going to begin early in the quarter, and that testing capability I've mentioned before, but was developed by our own experts on campus, and the tests will be processed on campus. That method is going to allow us to test much more quickly, up to 3,800 tests per day, and we're hoping we'll get to that level by mid-January. We are also going to do wastewater testing. That is going to be happening in the residence halls twice per week, beginning in January as well. And then just all the same continuing messaging around testing, masks, and distancing for all the Cal Poly sports fans out there. It was announced late last week that the fall sports that were planned to shift and take place in the spring will not happen, with the exception of football. Football is still expected to move forward. And then, as always, all updates can be found on our coronavirus-specific webpage, which is coronavirus.calpoly.edu. Thanks.
Thank you, Courtney. I have a couple of questions for you, and if anyone else has any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. My first question is, have you noticed any kind of contraction in the number of students who are planning to return to campus with the rising case counts?
So that's a great question. We, leading up to fall quarter, that we did see that number as time went on drop further and further, but I don't think it was such a significant number to really shift very much. And so our housing folks, I did talk to our housing folks last week, and they were saying that while they are planning on having a similar amount in the winter quarter, that because of that contraction, as you said, that happened in the fall, that number may drop. However, when we so we've done a couple surveys with the students, and for the most part, the majority of students are wanting to come back, and that we've asked them, if we did 100% virtual learning, would you still come back either to live in the residence halls or to the community? And the majority of them are saying yes, no question.
Interesting. So they're going to come back no matter what, is kind of,
yes,
if I read between the lines.
Yes.
Okay. Another question for you, is the saliva testing that you mentioned going to be available to civilians like me?
Yeah. So this is probably the number one question I'm getting right now. And no, we have been asking that question. We would like to be able to offer it to the off-campus community, to our neighbors and friends. But because of there's HIPAA reasons, there's a few layers of federal restrictions and things that prohibit us from being able to offer that to the community, unfortunately.
Okay. And finally, why football?
Because, okay, so I'm not a huge sports person, sorry. But because it's Big West, and Big West is the decision maker there. And so just because they're just in a different system, they as of this point are planning to move forward.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I know this environment feels somewhat arbitrary at times. So I just was curious about football versus basketball versus what other.
Good question.
I'm not a sports person either, though, so I don't actually know what the fall sports are. I'm just going to be totally transparent. And I see some people laughing at me, which is completely deserved.
I'm with you. You're not alone.
If anyone wants to chime in and help us out, that would be great. All right. Well, thank you, Courtney. And so that date again for people coming back to campus is January 4th, or is that when classes start?
January 4th, classes start. We are opening the residence halls on January 3rd for the individuals that have in-person classes on January 4th. The rest will have staggered move-ins through that first week.
Okay. Because I know we heard for the fall move-in that the staggered move-in was actually really helpful for downtown businesses, because instead of having that like total flood all at once, it was more customers sort of evenly distributed.
Oh, good.
Just anecdotally.
Great.
Okay. Thank you very much, Courtney. And let's go on next. We have some very exciting news. I hope that all of you were able to read about the incredible investments that the City of San Luis Obispo's City Council approved in economic relief and promotions for you all last week. So we have Molly Cano, and she's going to tell you a little bit about probably the most exciting program that the city has ever come up with for economic development, which is the Buy Local Bonus Program. Good morning, Molly.
Good morning, Bettina. Good morning, everyone. Wow, that's a big start. Most exciting program, economic development program we've ever come up with. That's a big coup. Thank you so much there.
I had a lot of coffee this morning, so.
Hey, well, I'll take it. If we're pretty excited about it. So this incredible partnership that the city has formed with the chamber to roll out this new program called Buy Local Bonus. Just to take you guys back, those of you who participated in these calls and have heard me speak on other programs we've done, I'm just going to kind of take you to where we are today. So the city has started rolling out over the summer a support SLO program. It initially started with our SLO Ready program to get our consumers and our shoppers comfortable and understanding the requirements to come into downtown and to other businesses in the city. From that program, we've then moved into our holiday campaign, where you've seen us talk about SLO Bright and some of the work that is going on within that campaign to help promote shopping local this holiday season in particular. Last Tuesday night, our city council heard a presentation on some prioritized economic development and homeless service programs that would kind of jumpstart with some of the Measure G funding that has recently been approved by our voters here in our community. And so the city council approved on Tuesday night roughly about $3.4 million into those programs moving forward. And so one of the programs that was approved under the economic recovery side of things was about a $200,000 investment in a shopping incentive. So if you were watching along at City Council last Tuesday, that's what you heard it referred to as a shopping incentive, shop local program. And so that is the program we have before you today. And so we were able to quickly turn this around and get out to the businesses through our business communication, the initial kickoff to sign up under our Buy Local bonus program, our business buy-in form. But I'm going to walk you through what the full program looks like. Thank you for popping that up. So we have set up a landing page on the city's website. And so you can go to slocity.org/buy-local-bonus, and it will take you onto this landing page. There's really, there's really two main components to this program. We see this, we see this as kind of a win-win, both for the businesses as well as for the consumers, right? So what we're wanting to do is help incentivize that shopping local experience with our residents and the folks that are spending dollars here in San Luis Obispo. And so what that means is essentially if a shopper spends $100 starting today, spends $100 in a local San Luis Obispo business, retail, restaurant, that type of business, they will be able to qualify to receive a $20 gift card to be able to use at other local businesses here within the city. So the $200,000 that the City Council has invested in this program will go directly back into purchasing those gift cards from our local businesses in order to fuel that program. So we see this as being an opportunity to encourage folks to get out and to shop safely right now. Then they'll be able to qualify for that reward to get $20 more to spend. And as we all know with those gift cards, they're burning holes in our pockets, and we want to go back out, spend them quickly, and oftentimes we find something that's usually a little above and beyond what that gift card is that we have in our pocket. So we're seeing this as an opportunity to drive some more local shopping investment here in our community as well. So how it works for businesses, I know that's what you all are so interested in hearing about. So how it works for businesses, we have a business buy-in participation form. So businesses can go to this form, they can sign up. We're going to drop it in the chat as well. So if you haven't had a chance to participate and sign up yet, you can still do that. Businesses will sign up in that form. Then what we will do is working closely with the chamber. The chamber is going to be helping us roll this program out. So we will work together to verify your business has a brick and mortar location here in the city of San Luis Obispo, has a qualified business license, holds a business license here in the city of San Luis Obispo, fits within the business sectors that are being served through this program, and also at this point in time, also does not have any code concerns regarding the business at this point in time. And so a business will be able to sign up. Once they meet those qualifications, they'll have the opportunity to either participate in either a physical gift card or an e-gift card. So if your business does do online gift cards, we would be happy to purchase those from you as well. The business will, once they've been qualified and communicated with, they'll get the instructions to then invoice the chamber, our partners at the chamber, to be able to purchase $500 worth of gift cards. So every verified business will get a $500 investment to purchase 25 gift cards. So 25 $20 gift cards that we will then load into the system and be able to use when those shoppers come in to redeem with their receipts of their local shopping. So we see this program rolling out first with the first 100 businesses that sign up so that we can get some gift cards in the system and start working through the verification for our local shoppers. And then we will continue to accept other businesses to participate in the program, as well as be able to replenish and refresh any of the gift cards that were in high demand through the program as well. And so again, we have we will be able to make an investment of $200,000 through this work. We see this program, we anticipate that this program will roll out over the course of a few months. However, depending on how successful it is, that will determine kind of how long it takes us to roll through all $200,000 in local gift cards. So that's the program in a nutshell. We anticipate being able to generate over $1 million in local economic spending through this shopping incentive program by being able to initiate this program here in our community.
Thank you, Molly. There's a question in the chat. If somebody has more than one store location of the same brand, can each store get the $500 of gift cards, or is it just per business license?
It would be per business license. And so then you would choose if the store, if there was a particular store that you wanted to offer the gift cards through, one of the locations. Otherwise, it would be acceptable at any of your locations in the within the city. But again, it does need to be a brick and mortar business here in the city that would be available to be able to qualify.
Great. And I know the program went live on Friday, correct? How many
Oh, sorry.
Oh, was it earlier than that, later than that?
Thursday. It rolled out to businesses
Thursday, okay.
Starting Thursday night. Yeah, and we think, good question. We have about 60 businesses who've already signed up. Again, the businesses will have to qualify. So starting today, we're going to be going through those applications that have already come in and qualifying, making sure that those areas that I outlined, brick and mortar, holds a business license, don't have any code concerns, code enforcement concerns as it relates to COVID. All of those items, we'll make sure that those all meet the capabilities and the verification, and then we'll be communicating with businesses that they've been verified to participate over the course of the next couple days. Shoppers, starting today, will be able to shop and be able to hold on to those receipts and be able to verify those starting today with us as well. We anticipate, because again, we need to be able to get those gift cards from you all, from all of the businesses as well. And so we anticipate our goal is that we're going to be able to get the first gift cards in the hands of our local shoppers by this weekend. So it was approved on Tuesday. We got it out to the businesses, and we're hoping to get those gift cards out in the hands of our local shoppers starting this weekend. So it's been a mad dash to get this up and off the ground.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much for your fast work on that. And I see Mayor Harmon is on the call as well. Thank you, City Council, for taking swift action to approve these additional needs in our community, especially as everything changed last week, as we know. So I have some questions about the way it works on the consumer end, but I think I will answer those questions by being a little guinea pig. 'Cause I definitely paid more than $100 in local shopping over the last couple of weeks. So.
Most definitely. And you know what, if there are other questions, I'm sure that there are plenty. I'm happy to answer any questions when the time is right. But you can also send over an email to support@slocity.org. And that will go to our team internally at the city, as well as our partners at the chamber, so that we can help answer any questions that you or your shoppers have about the program. One thing I didn't mention that I want to make sure we point out, we definitely understand that not everyone is comfortable getting out and doing face-to-face shopping right now. And so brick and mortar businesses that still have, that have an online presence, but also that local physical presence, they can still participate. And your shoppers that still participate online, that purchase online, as long as they're purchasing from a brick and mortar store as well in SLO, they can participate in the program too. And so that's the beauty of also having the e-gift cards that we can make available. So if somebody does want to come in to pick up that physical gift card, we've got that option for them. We'll also be able to mail gift cards locally, and we'll be able to fulfill with e-gift cards as well. So lots of options to get as many folks involved as possible.
That's great. And Jim from the chamber very kindly told me that the purchases have to be starting today. So
starting today.
This is not a retroactive thing. So I have to go out and spend more of my money in the community starting today. Okay, I get it. I'll do it.
Got it.
Great. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it, Molly. All right. So hopefully you all can get in there, and with 40 more spots, I'm sure they'll fill up quickly. So that's great. Up next, we have another representative from the city of SLO, Mr. Lee Johnson. How are you today, sir?
Good morning, Bettina. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. All righty. So thanks to Molly for that great job getting that set up and explaining it. I do want to give a little clarification. There's been some confusion on what council approved last Tuesday as it relates to business programs and how the money's allocated. So the big picture number was like $3 million, but to be clear, 200,000 of that is going to the buy local bonus. 500,000 is going to the grant program, where more information will be coming out later this week on the signups and everything. Then there's 2 million set aside in short-term deposits to use the interest to help people with tenant improvements and things as we come out of the pandemic. So you hear 2 million for tenant improvements, but it's really only the interest from that. So depending on what interest rate we're able to secure in the market, that could be $30,000 to $40,000 a year. So just to get the scope and scale of things, overall for grant programs and stuff, we will have, with this new allocation, be right around $1 million in grant programs for businesses, nonprofits, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. We'll also have another $1 million plus that we allocated to parklets, downtown improvements, things like that. And then another $250,000 that went to various clean and safe and cleaning programs and things like that. So the TI money is relatively small in the scope of things, and it's something we wanted to get started with the hope at some point that we will start coming out of the restrictions and new business will come and stuff. So that number is really small compared to what we're doing for current businesses and what's happening now. It just got a little, some people didn't quite understand it was only the interest on the 2 million, so I wanted to clarify that. So hopefully that helps. If people have questions, you can ask me. Also, the cases in California continue to trend in the wrong way. Looking forward to, not necessarily looking forward, but interested to see the numbers from the county over the weekend, because that will tell us a lot about how we are trending versus the rest of the state. We'll be able to kind of get a look a little bit into the future based on that. We also got clarification for those of you who have restaurants with outdoor dining, parklets, that kind of stuff. The original guidance from the county early last week, was that outdoor seating was not allowed to be made available for takeout food. That guidance changed Thursday-ish to it's only, restaurants could only do takeout, but there was no restriction on using the outdoor space for takeout food. So we did our best to clarify that from a SLO City perspective. We sent out the email late last week. We've updated, or in the process of updating, the website. So basically the big picture for the takeout dining in the parklets and in private space is you have to follow all the relevant guidance for restaurant industry. So that's like, the mask, the social distancing, you can't have groups, all that kind of stuff. You have to manage the trash and cleanliness related to the consumption of the takeout. You can have no table service. That's basically the big difference between pre-regional stay-at-home order and now is no table service. Basically, people have to come up, get their takeout, take it to the table, eat it, get rid of the trash, and move on. There's no alcohol consumption in those areas. Technically, the state has said you're not allowed to be open for any kind of dine-in or parklets, or for service in those spaces, which then means the ABC permit that allows you to serve in those areas wouldn't be viable. So then that puts you in our violation of our open container ordinance if somebody is drinking alcohol in one of those public or private spaces. A little complicated, all kinds of crossover guidance and things, but hopefully that's clear enough. And then all the other guidelines with ADA access and heaters and all of it, and safety and all that kind of stuff still apply. I know it's confusing. It's changed a lot over the few days, and it's being enforced differently all over the county and probably the state. So we did our best to clarify it and how it works under the city's current rules, regulations, and how it fits in with the guidelines. So hopefully that helps there. The county continues to update their website and clarify some of the other things because the regional order is a little less clear than like the blueprint and other versions before it. So we continue to work with that and share the information as we get it and do our best to keep everybody in the same loop. And we go from there. That is all that I have for today, unless you have some, or other people have questions. Bettina.
Thank you, Lee. I really appreciate that clarification about the money from City Council and where that's getting allocated. That was a little bit convoluted because it's complicated, not anyone's fault. So I appreciate the insight there. I am curious because there's been a lot of conversation in the downtown and in just across the community about the recent vote by the City Council of Paso Robles to go back into the purple tier. And how can they do that? Can they do that? It's a little confusing, and I know you're not the city attorney, but if you could provide any insight, that would be really helpful.
Yeah, okay. I'm not a lawyer. I don't even play one on TV, but my understanding is it's illegal. Like, you can't choose to not follow the guidance which are under a stay-at-home order, which is a legal requirement to follow. So that's my understanding. You can vote for anything you want to do. It doesn't really make it legal. So that's their choice. That's their decision. I can't speak for our city council or what direction we would go. I can only say that what I have seen and my understanding of it is that these are the rules and you have to follow them. If you don't like those rules, you follow the normal process, which is challenge them in court, work to get them overturned, or a stay from a judge, or any of the normal things we learned about in high school civics. That's my understanding of the process and how it works. And if people choose not to follow that process, that's their choice, but that doesn't mean you can do it that way, or it's legal, or whatever liability concerns you may have down the road for not following the guidance that was given. I can't dig into that. I just know what I've heard is that you can't really go that route. You can, but that's not how the process is supposed to work.
Got it.
I know that doesn't help much. It's just that's where we stand at this point. And we may get, we're having our disaster council meetings Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I'm not sure exactly when the next one is. Maybe tomorrow, I don't know. But I'm sure there'll be clarification if that question comes up.
That's actually a really important point. The disaster council was meeting at the beginning of the pandemic with a little more regularity, and then there was a meeting last week. So if there is another meeting, people might just not be aware that that is something that can happen in the disaster. So if you could let us know when the next disaster council meeting is, we can share that out with our members, and then maybe they can come in.
You still have to post, if you're going to take action, you still have to post that in advance, 24 hours. So the disaster council, we took action last Thursday to send the letter to be included in the new grouping of counties. So you have, if you're going to take action, you have to notice that.
Can you explain that for people who may have missed it?
So what we sent to the state?
Yes.
Okay, so on, I don't know the exact timing, but all 3 counties, so the Santa Barbara, Venturas, I believe, whatever, the counties have all sent letters to the state asking to be put into a new grouping of counties as we come out of the stay-at-home order. So right now we're in Southern California. The idea would be we'd be the Central Coast region or whatever, and then only our ICU stats would count for when we can come out of the current regional stay-at-home order. So all the boards of supervisors, all the public health officers have sent letters like that, and then our council voted unanimously to send a similar letter from the mayor to the state asking to be included in that grouping. So because we were taking that action, we had to notice the meeting and notice the action that was planned to be taken. Otherwise, the disaster council meetings are just an update that happens on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:30 from Derek to the council, because things are changing relatively quickly.
Absolutely. Well, that's great news that the city signed on to that letter. So that happened on Thursday night. That's great. And I see Mayor Harmon has said that the meeting, so tomorrow there will be a disaster council meeting at 5:30. And the way to participate in that is just the same as any city council meeting, right? You go onto the website and you can get your link to the go-to meeting, or you can watch it on the YouTube channel of the city.
I see the enforcement question in there. And again, for enforcement, this applies to the city of San Luis Obispo. I can't speak to what the county or any other city is doing. But our enforcement process starts with communication and education. We make sure people know the rules. We make sure that they're following what happens. If we get a complaint or if a situation's brought to light that there's somebody not following the rules, we work to make sure they're clear on the rules. We visit them with code enforcement, do all those things. If they're unwilling to follow the guidance from the state, then they enter an administrative citation process, and those fines can go up to $1,000, and they can end up being $1,000 per person per day that's in violation. So they can get pretty expensive. There's a few people in the enforcement process at this moment in time. There's a lot more people in the education portion of that, because the rules like around outdoor dining and everything have changed so much. But we constantly work through it. We work with the county. We work with all of our businesses to try and educate, communicate, and then last resort is enforcement. If people want to report situations within the city of San Luis Obispo, again, this is within the city of San Luis Obispo, we have a hotline that's 805-783-7835. Again, 805-783-7835. There's also a county hotline to report businesses outside the county. I will give you that hotline number as well. It's 805-543-2444. Again, 805-543-2444. So that hopefully answers the enforcement questions and the way to report situations.
Great. Thank you very much, Lee. I know this is a complicated situation, and we appreciate your voice of reason and your being there for us at all hours of the day and night, especially last week. So thanks for that. All right, we're going to change directions a little bit, because sometimes in this long state of emergency, it can feel like all we're doing is really responding to what is in front of us. But there's actually a lot of long-range planning that's happening behind the scenes, and some of the work that's being done in our community has been ongoing. So we have invited Adam Fukushima, another representative from the city of SLO, to talk a little bit about the draft active transportation plan, which is in development right now. And we've had an opportunity to give input on this through various channels, most notably through our Parking and Access Committee, which the normal operations of which have been paused since about July. But we wanted to invite Adam to talk a little bit about how this will specifically address the downtown. So thanks for being with us, Adam.
Great. Thank you, Bettina. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Great. Let me just share my screen. I have a very short PowerPoint, very, very brief. I'll share with you. Let's see. Okay. Whoops. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's go back here. Go. Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, like I said, for having me on. Happy Monday to you all. Right now we have a public draft out of the Active Transportation Plan. And what is the Active Transportation Plan, you ask? It is basically a plan that proposes projects and programs for bicycling and walking throughout the city. So for the last 20 years or more, we've had a bicycle transportation plan, and this plan will succeed that and also add a pedestrian element to it, which is very, very exciting. We've done pedestrian planning in the past, but we've never had like a formal central place for in a plan. And so this active transportation plan is an opportunity to do that. Okay, why are we creating this? First of all, we wanted to have a plan that had both bicycling and walking in it. That was something that was called for in our general plan. It also increases our readiness for state grants. So a lot of these projects that are proposed in it will use city funding, but the vast majority of it will look for state grants and other sources of funding to complete and construct. And so those grants are getting very competitive now. And so we want to make sure that we are as ready as possible, and a plan helps that out. Also, we'll be incorporating focused elements from the downtown concept plan that was approved several years ago. And so we kind of just took several of those elements and we put them into this plan. So this plan is a city-wide plan. It's not just focused on the downtown, but there's certain elements of it that we want to make sure that we're in it. Okay, another thing is the climate action plan goals. A huge part of this is how to reach our goal to be climate neutral. As you know, as many of you know, the city has made a goal of being climate neutral by 2035, and transportation is the largest producer of greenhouse gas emissions. And so the city has a goal of reaching 20% of all trips by bike and 18% by walking, carpool, and other forms of transportation that are not single occupancy vehicles. And so this, what we call this a mode split, is a big part of reaching that goal. So a lot of our climate action goals is about, conversion to electric vehicles, but we also don't want a city where we just have vehicles everywhere. We also want to reduce the amount of trips that are by vehicle and increase those amount of those trips that are by walking and biking, and which certainly helps the downtown area. Okay, what kind of proposals or things are we looking for? For pedestrians, we'll be looking at things like more pedestrian signals, things like bulb outs that decrease the crossing distance for pedestrians, increasing our sidewalks, widening our sidewalks, adding more crosswalks, curb ramps, adding more beacons. A lot of these things you've probably seen in the downtown area already, and we're going to be doing more of this in the downtown as well as in other parts of the city as well. Okay, for bike facilities, shared use paths, which many of you have seen, the Railroad Safety Trail and the Bob Jones, looking at improvements to our bike lanes, a new feature called a protected bike lane, which adds a protection, so either a vertical one with a step, a curb, or some kind of barrier like you see in this picture on the bottom left, which is a planter. And the neighborhood greenways, there's the Morrill Street Bike Boulevard that leads into downtown, and we also have planned some other neighborhood greenways that'll help getting people to the downtown area. This is just a snapshot of what's proposed for the downtown as far as projects goes. The dashed lines are proposed bikeway improvements, and the dots are proposed crossing improvements that help bicycling and walking. We've heard from a lot of the public outreach that we did that people like to have easier ways of getting to the downtown area. So, for example, we have the Enholm bikeway that's proposed. That's on Choro Street, leading under Highway 101, getting to the downtown area. We have another more routes like on Mill Street. So if you're at Cal Poly, you know, use the railroad safety trail to get downtown, you can connect to the Mill Street neighborhood greenway, and that'll help you get there. And also just this summer, we completed another neighborhood greenway on Nipomo Street. That'll help you get to downtown from the southern part of the city. Okay.
Adam,
additional,
just real
yes.
quick on that last slide.
Yes.
What is the red house at Palm and Broad? Is that Santa's house?
That is a school of some sort, and I need to actually like make sure that that's accurate, because I saw that in there before as well too.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe
I saw
just
that as
got
well
Christmas
too.
on the brain, but
Yeah.
like Santa.
No worries. And then an additional pedestrian element as well too. We heard a lot from the public outreach we did that people wanted more lighting, and they also wanted more enhancements that make the pedestrian experience more enjoyable. And so you know, you may have seen the enhancement we did on Monterey Street, just on the curb of the Chamber of Commerce, where we added some color and a protected bike lane. This plan proposes to do a lot more of that in the downtown area, as well as in neighborhoods. It's also a great way to get engagement from people who live in the area. So things like this art could be done by people who live there, or local artists. And then just curb ramps. A lot of the outreach we heard was just a lot of our curbs just need curb ramps, which, you know, helps those in wheelchairs, but also those who are pushing strollers around to get to the downtown area. Other than that, parklets. So we have some design guidance on how to do parklets, as well as recommending a program for a formal permanent parklet program. So we heard from a lot of the folks in the downtown area that they really like the parklets. We heard that they would like to have this be permanent, not just something that's during the pandemic response. And so we're really excited about that. Also supporting things called like open street events. You may have heard of something called the Ciclovia, which is like a open street event in Los Angeles where you close a street on a certain weekend, and you can have things like bicycling, but also things like you could have like yoga classes, you could have dance classes, just different ways for people to engage and activate the public right-of-way for more pedestrian use. And that's certainly something we can do here in San Luis Obispo. Other than that, there are things like traffic calming, slowing down speed, slowing down volumes, getting people to slow down as they get to the downtown, as well as other areas of the city. Public art, and also placemaking opportunities. And that's really it. Public draft is available right now. If you go to slowbikewalk.org, you can download it. And if you want to leave a comment, you can leave it at that website. There's a little thing there that says leave your statement. You can also email comments to me at afukushima@slowcity.org. And these are really helpful comments for us to have as we go to back to council on February 2nd for council adoption of the plan.
Great. Thank you very much, Adam. Really appreciate that. As I said in our introduction to you, you know, we're really kind of just in the moment, always trying to figure out what's happening today. And it's kind of inspirational to imagine that we could look ahead, and some of the improvements that we've already seen becoming permanent are pretty important. So I know that a lot of you on this call, I've had conversations with about how do you make the parklets permanent. If that's part of this, then this would be a really great way to advocate for it. I've been to a couple of International Downtown Association events, and one thing we talk about a lot when we talk about public space management is an economy that's vibrant really depends upon people being able to take an interesting walk. And that's what this is all about, right? Like everything in the active transportation plan relates to that. When you're on a bicycle, you see the world with, you know, not blinders on. And when you're walking around the downtown, that is part of being actively transported.
Yeah, thanks so much for mentioning that, because one of the things we wanted to do is, you know, a lot of us in public works were kind of engineering and planning types. We're just kind of about projects. We wanted it to be much more than just that. We wanted this plan to be something that makes walking not only a way to get from A to B, but also make it fun and interesting. And things like public art, little things like that really go a long way in making people want to get out and walk more often.
Great. All right. Well, thank you so much, Adam. We appreciate you being here, and we'll see you out on your bike, I bet.
Thank you.
Great, take care. All right, next up we have Jim D'Antona from the Chamber of Commerce. Jim, how are you doing this morning?
Great, Bettina. Good to see you. Thanks for this. Great information today. And before I kind of get into the normal kind of program stuff, I figured I'd talk real quick about a little bit of what Lee was talking about, the letters going to the governor. The chambers from all the tri-counties have backed up with petitions the letters from the 3 county governments talking specifically about what is why we should be in a different group, but for what our business owners concerned about, how we get out of this, move into that next tier. And being in Southern California is going to make it much more difficult if we were by ourselves or with another group. That might make a difference. So we're all the tri-county chambers have come and sent letters to the governor to support the letters going from the counties and the cities supporting it. So hopefully we're creating at least some noise around the idea that we're a little different. Obviously we understand this is an incredibly difficult time right now, and we're not asking to be open right now, but what we are asking for is when it comes time to get out, that that we be considered in our region. Additionally, I want to compliment and say to the city what an amazing work in the programs they have put forward. All of this goes back, we're so grateful to partner with them, but it goes back to the fact that we passed Measure G. Measure G revenues are those planned Measure G revenues are the thing that are funding these great programs. So to everyone who helped us get that across the finish line and get that done, we're seeing immediate benefits to our business industry from this sales tax measure. So again, I think it's an incredible ability of the city to recognize what needs to happen and put those new dollars right into action before they even get them, essentially front funding it. So we're so glad to be a partner in this, and doing everything we can, everything you're doing, Bettina, to try and keep the business community going, because that's what a healthy community has, right? It has a healthy economy and a healthy city, and all of that working together. Looking forward to the things that we have kind of going on. The last time we had our business survey out was we closed it on November 30th. 5 days later, we went into a shutdown mode, shutdown light. And so we've actually are putting this out over for this week, 1 week only, impact survey about what this has meant for you, so that we can truly measure this, and with some questions about vaccines, how you intend to deal with this with your employees and or your own personal aspect to it. So to help us talk to government, help us deal with the issues and understand what it means to your business. So this is a quick, we're turning this around Friday, we're gonna close it and be done with it. So if you get a chance, go over and take the survey. It'll be going out region-wide, again, from Santa Barbara County up to Paso, doing it. So wherever we can do, we wanna make sure we get the regional voice heard on that. Additionally, tomorrow is our off and new kind of special Good Morning SLO in December. We usually don't do a Good Morning SLO in December. Usually we take that month off, but we actually are going to do one, and it's going to be a silver linings discussion. We have all of our speakers talking about, we all heard about all the bad things that are going on. We're going to talk about what good things happened, and talk about that for the program, the entire program, and in fact, have videos from different members talking about all the positive things that have happened during this time. Additionally, you can obviously pick up, we're gonna roll Good Morning SLO right into 2021, do it the same way virtually. Just make sure we keep that connection. So you can buy your annual pass, but if you're getting your annual pass, you're going to be guaranteed when we're back live, and we will be back live. Don't know when, but we will be back live. And then finally, obviously coming to on Wednesday night, we're going to do a regional chamber mixer. So we're going to connect folks all the way from South Santa Barbara County, all the way through our county, and bring them all together into a virtual mixer which should be kind of fun. We're gonna, you're gonna be able to connect to folks you've never met before, and they will get to meet you. So you can set up and connect on that regional mixer. It'll be kind of a fun little event, and we're looking forward to working with our partners over at Santa Maria and the South and Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber to try to bring folks together from across our region. Because again, regionally, we need to think about how we are as an economy, and we felt like we've done a lot of discussion about it. Now let's see if we can bring our friends together. So feel free to join. It's free. You can connect at any time, and we look forward. Anything else you need from us, we're here at the Chamber trying to help.
Great, thank you. Appreciate that, Jim. Yeah, I will be interested to join into that. The regional chamber group seems to have done quite a bit over the last 9 months. So switching gears a little bit, if no one has any questions for Jim, we wanted to pay some particular attention to the situation that restaurants find themselves in. And as we were talking about earlier with Adam, and as Jim was talking about with a healthy economy, our foot traffic in the downtown really depends on having wonderful restaurants for people to dine in. It's a huge draw for our community. And in fact, we were doing a survey a year ago, and the number one thing that drew people into the downtown was in fact dining. So with the new regional stay-at-home order in place and no table service allowed during this time, we know that there are servers who are out of work. We know that there are dishwashers out of work, and that we need to support our restaurants. Visit SLOCAL, which is the regional county tourism agency, is promoting Restaurant Month each January. This year, it's of course going to look a little bit different. In past years, it's been special prefix menus with special deals for locals to explore restaurants around the community. But this is going to really focus on people doing takeout. So there's a big push right now, of course, with the holidays, but we're really looking ahead, as are many of the other organizations that support economic vitality, to January and February, which are historically slow months for restaurants and retail. And when we know the pandemic is still going to be surging. So if you want to participate and you represent a business that's a restaurant, please sign up for free to by today to join the Restaurant Month Challenge that the county tourism business is putting up. And we also want to talk a little bit again about making that walk interesting. We are so excited about the Light Up Downtown program, and it's so fun to see people out and about exploring downtown safely, walking around, seeing all the different activations. Big props to Whitney on our team for putting together this great holiday map with all of the fun activations. You can vote for your favorite window in the decorated window showcase. We have a People's Choice contest that I'll tell you a bit more about in a minute. And there's also the Search for Santa's Mouse, which is a scavenger hunt. But this has just been tremendous. So fun to see downtown lit up. And thank you for all of you who've poured your creativity into the downtown. The Mission Plaza has become transformed into the Holiday Plaza. Hanukkah is going on right now. Tonight is the 5th day of Hanukkah, and the menorah is lit at 5 p.m. We have the holiday tree on display. We have very fun, creative, and colorful light installations. And of course, you can drop off your letters to Santa. And if you drop off your letters to Santa by this Friday, then you can get a letter back from the jolly old elf himself with the help of some of his elves. So please head over and appreciate that. And big thanks to Amber Butler and Carson Butler Events for their incredible work on this project, and to the City of SLO, and to the San Luis Obispo Collection for their generous sponsorship. We have a really fun video on our YouTube of Santa Claus reading the story of Santa Mouse. The Search for Santa Mouse was launched with the Children's Museum, and is a great fun free activity for kids to enjoy, and it's been so fun to see the families out and about. So you can check that out on your own time, or if you've got little ones at home. I'm not going to play the whole thing because we've gone a little bit over our time today. Thank you for being on this whole call. We're at 11 right now. I'll speed through the rest of it. The window showcase is definitely a popular thing. We've gotten more than 1,000 votes so far, which is awesome. So great job, everybody. You can vote in person via QR code online in the Facebook album, or there's a Google form that you can download on our website. So you all really went above and beyond on your holiday decorations this year. We appreciate it, and we'll be announcing the People's Choice winner next week. So with that, we're going to move into our polls, which close out our meeting each week. We again invite you to join us for our meeting next week. I imagine with the stay-at-home order in effect, there might be some more pessimism circulating. I love looking at this chart each week because it's kind of like looking at somebody who's having a total heart attack or listening to some crazy like European techno music and at a dance party, because it is all over the place. So if you've stepped away from your screen, or maybe you looked at your email for a minute, please come back and do the poll real quick. We'll share this out in just a minute. All right, we've got about half of you. All right, we're going to close that poll and share those results. Okay, all right, you're feeling somewhat optimistic. That's good. Maybe a little bit of rain helped the attitude. Maybe all of the help that's coming. I'm not sure, but then some of you are feeling somewhat pessimistic. Interestingly, we don't have anybody very pessimistic today, so that's something. Let's go into the second poll question now. This is about the #1 challenge facing your business today. So as the pandemic continues to increase, we have seen the concern about the safety of people's employees and ensuring that they themselves do not become sick. We were concerned about hiring staffing earlier. We've been concerned about access to economic relief. I hope that today's meeting has allowed a little bit of happiness there with some new grant programs and some new incentive questions. But by far, our #1 thing through this whole experience together has been the uncertain consumer confidence, and that is the one thing that we just can't predict or control. So I expect that to continue to be the reality. Lack of foot traffic and customers, obviously that's going to be challenging during the stay-at-home regional order. It's also going to be a challenge for as the holidays dwindle down and we go into our historic short time. So here we are. Uncertain consumer confidence wins again, tied with a lack of foot traffic and customers. So not unsurprising, and just thanks for sharing your insight. We are going to ask a third question today, and this is a question about your ideas about what you think the best type of collective advertising for downtown SLO to invest in at this time. We are looking to spend some money. Our budget has been affected, but we really want to make sure that we're promoting and pushing out information as much as we can, especially now that we have a wonderful website with a new updated business directory that is loading quickly and that has lots of different interactive features. So we want to hear from you about what you think would have the most impact. And just listed here are a couple of things that we're considering at this time. And we do already do some of this, but these are just some ideas that have been kicking around. If you have some additional ideas of ways that we could really make a splash and do some advertising, some other things that have come up in the past during other strategic planning moments have been like a billboard downtown, something like that. So please, if you have any creative ideas, drop them in the chat. Otherwise, we just want to hear from you. And thank you for taking the time. We will go ahead and close this poll in just a few minutes. So if you haven't voted, please come back to your Zoom screen. Tell us what you think would be the most effective. And we do have, let's see, okay, let's finish this and wrap it up. All right, so boosted and promoted social media posts. Sound great, okay. Well, we're gonna keep working ahead on that, and always tag us on your posts at Downtown SLO. That'll be a great way for us to reshare your content. If we don't know you're sharing it, we can't push it out to our people, but we absolutely do the best we can to make sure that we're resharing content when it's available. We do have Mayor Harmon on the call right now, and Mayor Harmon, you've asked if you can ask a question, and we'd love to have you say a few words. Thanks for asking.
Thank you so much. I guess in light of everything else, this isn't an important question, but maybe I will just say that I just appreciate these calls so much. I learn a lot, and it's great to have a review of what we did at City Council, and I am super excited about those programs that you highlighted today. We got a pretty concerned letter this morning from someone swearing that children are sitting on Santa's lap taking pictures, and they were deeply concerned, but that's not happening, right, Bettina?
That is not happening. We have a photo of Santa where you can take pictures, but no.
Okay. I didn't think so, but they were deeply concerned about that. So, and just want to say to all the restaurants in particular, I know that there's been a lot of bumpiness around that, and it's confusing with all the different rules and with PASO kind of striking out on their own. And I have had conversations with the city attorney about the potential legal ramifications that PASO rules might be getting themselves in. And as you might guess, it's a very new and unclear area of law. So I guess we could all kind of keep tabs on that situation as we move forward. But thank you all so much.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I appreciate you being on these calls each Monday or when you can. We have gone over our time today. I really appreciate everybody for being on here. It's 11:07. I know you've got lots to do. I do, as always, encourage you to tune in to the governor. He generally makes some announcements around 11:30 or noon. The best way to tune in on that is generally on Facebook. So I imagine that he'll be doing something today. So as always, we are here for you. Please email us, call us, send over a carrier pigeon. We're out and about. And we appreciate each of you, and we hope that you have a pleasant week. And we'll see you next week. Be well.